It has been nearly 8 months since Christian Pulisic's dream of playing in the 2018 World Cup died on a bumpy soccer field in Trinidad. How long does one take to recover from that degree of disappointment? It would seem the answer is somewhere between 8 months and never. Being a young American, playing in the World Cup was my biggest dream in my soccer world, Pulisic told Sporting News. You can imagine how it feels. More, Tottenham and Liverpool rumors are hogwash. USMNT star's father dismisses Premier League links. Honestly, it's hard for anyone to imagine how that feels. It's hard to compare what Pulisic and his U.S. men's national teammates experience to anything else in sports, because soccer runs on parallel tracks that don't exist for basketball players or track athletes. The Duke players who missed their chance to play in a Final Four because a buzzer shot rimmed out at least were granted an entire off-season to prepare for their professional careers or another year with the Blue Devils. When Jamaica's Johan Blake missed a bronze medal in the 100-meter dash by 0.02 of a second, he didn't have to run another Olympics for 4 years. Pulisic had a game with Borussia Dortmund 4 days later against RB Leipzig. He had almost a full season still to play. It was not the ideal season. He scored 5 goals in all competitions and assisted on 8 others. With the lineup experiencing some major changes, Dortmund did not advance out of its Champions League group, finished 4th in the Bundesliga and won no major trophies. In February, he acknowledged to ESPN his play was not the best it's been. USMNT, George Weah's son Timothy on scoring first international goal. Now he's finished with his year, preparing for what's next with his club in the US. What's next will not be the World Cup, except in the sense he will watch it while he rests. It's not going to be easy. But I've had time to get over it, Pulisic said. I'm excited to see some good football, some good games. I'll have some friends playing in the World Cup, which is always fun to watch. I just love watching soccer because there's so many good players and things you can learn from them. Pulisic has spent the past week with the U.S. in a camp that ordinarily would be designed to prepare the team for the World Cup, which opens June 14 in Russia, but instead is being operated by an interim coach, Dave Sarachan, with a roster full of players so young their U.S. appearances were mostly at the U20 level. With 21 appearances at age 19, Pulisic had the second most caps of any American starter when the U.S. played a friendly Monday against Bolivia in suburban Philadelphia. I think it's just continuing to grow our youth talent. I think that's what's most important for us now, Pulisic said, sounding like a veteran though he made his first appearance 2 years ago. You know, gaining some chemistry and getting these players minutes and good training with the national team and building a new team for our future. Still being a young player, it's interesting having some of the most caps on the team. I'm having to be more of a leader now, but if that's what it takes for me, I'm ready to do that, and help some of our younger players learn. Obviously, it's a tough situation not being part of the World Cup. It's tough, but we still have good coaches and players we need to develop. It's been good. Younger players have gotten more minutes in these friendlies and I think it is good for our country right now. More, FC Cincinnati announced as the next expansion club in MLS. Pulisic grew up in Hershey, PA, in a soccer family. His parents were both soccer players, and his father is a coach who now works with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and trained with Christian from a young age. My dad was constantly throwing a ball at me when I was as young as I can remember, he said. That connection with his hometown is one reason the Hershey Company signed him to help launch the Reese's Outrageous Bar, a campaign that included the design of special soccer cleats to showcase the product. "I've probably been to Chocolate World more than anyone else in this world," Pulisic said. "This is very close to my heart." His success in the Bundesliga before his 18th birthday was unprecedented. And not just for an American player. He was the youngest ever to score twice in the league. But particularly for an American player, he is doing what no one has before. Since his debut, defensive midfielder Weston McKennie became a regular at Schalke 04 and young striker Josh Sargent signed to play at Werder Bremen. The key to making the next World Cup, and the one after, is for Pulisic to become less of an outlier among American players. "No one expected me to be this far at such a young age. I'm trying to set that standard and show Americans what they can do," Pulisic said. "I don't think there's any reason we can't have a lot of Americans coming over and having success at young ages. That's exactly what I'm trying to do." WIEDEY, the World Cup has come to FIFA 18 for free. If Pulisic were preparing for a World Cup, the energy generated likely would push him toward performances better than the one he delivered in the Bolivia game, when he was just a shade off on so many of the chances he tried to create. Toward the end, his evening was punctuated when an opponent played a ball that flew directly into Pulisic's face. He looked very much like someone who needed a break. "First of all, it's about taking a solid few weeks off to rest and recover and take care of my body," Pulisic said, half chuckling, when asked how he'll prepare for next season. "After I have a little bit of time off, I'm going to be right back doing my workouts and working on all parts of my game." Watching the World Cup might even lead to him discovering a move or technique to incorporate in his game. It would have been better to see it firsthand, though.